should be live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rainy Nights, the segment of my YouTube channel where I interview other motor vloggers and motorcycle personalities. If you haven't been here before, I am Rainy Rider. I ride a 2019 BMW Grand America and a 2021 Harley Sportster. Feel free to give the channel a like and a subscribe. Tonight we have Devin, aka Bob Fett. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on? My name is Devin, and as he said, Bob Fett.
All right, so where are you from and what do you ride?
I am from Tampa, Florida, and I have multiple bikes. I ride a 2014 Street Bob mainly, but I've also got that 70s Iron Head, and I used to have a KTM, but it's no longer in my possession. But yeah, mainly just a Street Bob, and then the Road King, but that's not mine. That's my wife's, the family heirloom.
Right on. So if anybody has any questions, just put them in the comments and open them up with either my name or his. It'll pop up in orange for us, and we'll answer your questions as soon as we can get to them. So how long have you been riding?
And I've been probably riding about since I was 5, 6 or so. I rode dirt bikes for years and absolutely enjoyed it. And then I want to say I started riding street bikes, like legit, quote unquote, probably since I was 20, 21, 22 or so. So probably about like 11, maybe 10 years solid on the road.
Right on. Oh, I did want to say, so I went to this charity ride today, and there was a little girl, had traumatic brain injury, and so when I got up to talk to her, I was talking to her, and at the last camp out, you gave me like 4 of your stickers. So I gave her one of your little monkey stickers, and she loved it. So,
nice.
So she has one of your
Awesome.
stickers. So, of course, being a biker, it was at a Harley-Davidson dealer, so she's got a little wall now. She's going to put all her stickers on. So, yeah, one of your stickers will be on her little wall. That was kind of cool.
Definitely. Let me know whenever the whatever happens, like when she puts them on or wherever she puts them on. I'd love to see what they go to.
Yeah, I'll be putting that video together probably tonight to maybe release tomorrow or the next day, and they'll get back to us, and then they'll add this to their website and their fundraiser. So it'd be a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
But so, are you a fair weather rider or a rough rider?
Man, honestly, if I walk out the door and it looks like rain, I'll ride. But if I walk out the door and it's raining, I'll typically take the truck. And it all kind of depends. I mean, if I got friends that are waiting on me to go on a ride and it's raining, I'll go. But if I got to go to work, I will totally just take the truck. I mean, I'll choose the comfort any day, or at least stay to dry.
Oh yeah, there's different degrees I'll ride in and won't ride in. I mean, going to work's a different thing than I'm going to ride for an hour and then come home.
Yeah,
Going to work and being miserable, that's entirely different than I'm going to go out and ride an hour or two and then come home and get a nice warm shower.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like whenever you talk about fair weather riders, typically always they put hand in hand. It's like, oh, do you ride every day at any time of the day during any rain or sleet or whatever you're dealing with at the time? But if I'm, like I said, if I'm going to go like hang out with friends or have a good day off, definitely I'll get on the bike. So I guess more or less I would be a fair weather rider for work. But any other time, I'm ready and I'm down.
Right on. So how did you get into motorcycles?
I want to say my uncle was a big influence on my life. He used to ride a dirt bike that he built back in the day, but he definitely got me to swing a leg over a bike, and ever since then I've just kind of had the itch.
Okay. So today, who inspires you to ride?
Today, man, honestly, I'd have to say my wife inspires me to ride the most. There's times whenever I'm home and tired and things are going on or whatever, life takes a hold of you. Alana will just be like, well, let's go. Just get on the bike. Why not? and she definitely is the one that pushes me to do it more. I feel like I've gotten like over the 30 errors, so now I'm getting like 34, 35. I'm to the point where my leg hurts. I'm not going to do this anymore. And she's like, no, let's go. And she, ironically, she just turned 40, so she probably is younger in spirit.
Yeah, that's how mine is. Yeah, you start to reach this point in your writing where you're starting to make, I don't know, make amends with yourself. You're like,
Yeah, exactly.
these things I can do, things I can't do. But I mean, I guess it's what it's worth to you in the end. Let's see who's in the chat today. We've got Casey. Casey's always here. Juice has been here. Juice was here first today. Aaron, nothing at random's in. Sydney, Seventh Sentinel's here. We've got My Pillion. My Pillion's here. And then Bruiser. Bruiser came in today, and Iowa Hog Rider. I think that's who that is. So yeah, we got a pretty good group out there today.
Awesome.
So would you rather a solo ride or a group ride?
Oh man, it's typically I go for a solo ride. If anything, I just kind of like going at my own pace and riding at my own destination, I guess you could say. Because I typically don't choose an area I'm going to. I just choose like if I'm going north, south, or east. I can't go west because I just end up in the river or the water.
Totally understandable. So in a group ride, would you prefer a big group or a small group?
Small group, definitely. Big group's fun, but the problem with big groups is typically you always run into the people that want to, kind of go out and experience their own fun at other people's expenses.
Yeah.
So you'll have the guy that like cuts in between you, or if you do find a big group, I feel like it's always going to be the best type of big group will be the ones that people have known each other for like 10 plus years, and they have the like riding camaraderie together, or they know how to like who's going to ride in front or what the other person is doing, but always if it's first times or something like that, it's definitely going to be a smaller group.
Right on. So talking about meetup, once a year, once every maybe twice a year. And then there's smaller stuff that's kind of sporadic. What is your favorite standard meetup that periodically will happen?
If it like time frame or honestly for the meetups part, I would definitely say like the sporadic parts is probably my favorite ones. Like I love when Kyle will hit me up and he's like, hey man, you want to go do parking lot beers tomorrow at some, gas station somewhere? I'm like, I enjoy that more. And I enjoy the, like Jake and Katie. Jake's actually here now, but Jake, I'll go out and hang out with him and Katie, and we'll just find some place to go to, like a couple days before or something like that. So definitely sporadic.
Okay, so how about meetups that you actually have to travel and go to? What's your favorite meetup to go to?
Oh man, I can't. I mean, if I had a meetup to go to that I would constantly go to, I mean, I would say the Grundle Run would be my favorite. Something that you plan for. You're going up to Georgia. You're having a great time. But yeah, that would probably be the farthest one for me. Definitely.
Right on. Okay, so what is the stupidest thing you've ever done on a motorcycle?
Oh, I'm drink and ride. That's probably the dumbest. We've all done it, unfortunately.
That's you,
I would.
Yeah, you know your limits by learning your limits. Once you've done something like the self-correcting errors, the things you do, and you go, well, I'm never going to do that again. That was dumb.
Exactly. I feel like I've always been to that point where I'm like, I'll go to the shame, and the shame is probably maybe 12 to 15 minutes away, depending on traffic. I'll go there, I'll have a beer, or someone will show up, and they're like, hey, let me buy you a beer. And then it goes from one thing to another, and you're like, oh, I'm still good. I can ride home. But I've gotten to the point where I'm like, 3 beer, I'm done. Anything beyond that, I'm either Uber or I'm going to stay there and hang out and drink some water for like the next 2 hours, which never happens. So,
Right on. Yeah, the other thing that happens when you get older is you get a little smarter. You do start to be more cautious about things. So, what is the scariest moment you've ever had on a motorcycle?
Scariest moment. There was one time whenever I first learned to ride on the road, and I was riding a 1984 Honda Shadow, and it was all chopped up and it had a bunch of, stuff done to it. A lady had pulled out in front of me in the middle of the rain, and my back tire was bald. There was nothing left of it. Basically, the cable, the wiring and stuff were just exposed. And I think I came I would say like a foot. I felt like it was inches, but it definitely was like a foot away from careening into her hood and then going up and over the handlebars. That was like the most like butthole tuckering moment that I've ever had in my life. Thankfully, I mean I've had like spills and stuff, but that definitely was the scariest moment of my life.
All right, so you came out of that unscathed, or did you have some?
No, it was good. I think my left boot that I had on at the time, and thank God I actually had boots on at the time, which, by the way, everybody ride with gear. But my boot, the heel of it, had probably shaved down like 2 or 3 millimeters because I had one foot on the ground and it was just like sliding into it. That's how it's going.
Yeah, the Yosemite woe camel woe thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so yeah, you talk about AGAT and gear and stuff. Yeah, I know there's different levels of comfort, I think, that you go through, but there's some things that you just will not ride without. What's your I'm not riding without this thing?
Oh, definitely helmet. Full face helmet. That's why I always go to. I have 3/4. I've rode without a helmet. I've rode with like the little bowl one that sits on top of your head. That does nothing for you. But without, hands down, is a helmet for me. And then later on, I actually got gloves and stuff like that. I mean, you should ride with full gear, but I feel like the helmet is like the number one. Save your noggin.
Yep, absolutely. What has been the most frustrating part of riding a motorcycle for you?
Man, just learning the mechanics of it. Just being somebody that was very mechanically inclined, I absolutely loved working on bikes. But when you're wanting to go out and ride, you have to put a lot of time into a bike and kind of develop a relationship with it. There's sometimes where you want to kick it into the river, and sometimes you want to just ride it down the road or up to Nashville. But the frustrating part about that for me was definitely like finding out what was wrong with my dumb Shadow at the time, or what was going on with it, and then not being able to ride in. You just kind of have to go with the flow at that point.
Right on. So, flip side of that, what has been your favorite part of riding?
Getting out and being away from people, to be honest. I mean, just like how COVID came around, COVID was very difficult for everybody, but during that time frame, I still kind of had work going on, and it made me realize, like, going out and riding, it was kind of a release. It's that euphoric feeling of just being free and fun and finding an area and enjoying it, or having the destination in place, but you never make it because you found some stupid little bar down the road or something like that. It's just the general aspects of just riding in general. I guess you have fun with it.
Yeah, I've said before, COVID has done a lot of things, but one thing I think it did positive, one, it blew YouTube up huge because people were stuck at home, and they started watching YouTube and seeing things and seeing people be able to do things. And then the flip side of that was after COVID started letting up, people decided, well, I'm not just going to stay home anymore. I'm going to go out and do these exciting things. So even I'm sure you have too in some of these meetups and some of these people getting out and going places. Many more people getting out now than did before, because now people are like, I'm not going to be held at home anymore. There's things out there that I want to do, and I'm not going to be held up like this again.
For sure, man. So, absolutely.
Yeah, I think some of these campouts I've gone to in the last 2 years would have never happened if it wasn't for COVID, because now people are going, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to get out and do things.
We should. And I think it's awesome that people are actually doing it and actually getting out of their houses and actually trying these things too.
Yeah, I think it was a big wake up. So, okay. New year. We're 3 months into the new year. What are your plans for this year? I know you got a big thing coming up with the 99 Problems. You want to talk about that?
The 99 Problems was, honestly, it all started with Kyle. I took the Ironhead and put it together for another reason. I didn't really start it for the whole 99 Problems run, but yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm looking forward to leak a bunch of oil everywhere.
It didn't look that bad. I saw it. It actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's funny, people, and I've got to see it up close. So people actually try to make their bikes look that way. They try to make new bikes look that way. So
yeah.
it's a lost art, I think, just to be able to take one that is in bad shape and put it into good shape.
Mm-hmm.
But so much more that people actually look up to that they want to make new bikes look like that.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of crazy, but yeah. I'm going to get these brand new jeans and blow holes in it with a shotgun where they look like they're worn, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so if someone were to ask you, I just finished my MSF course, I've gotten as good as I can get on this 250, now I want to get a bike that I can ride for 3 or 4 more years, and I want it to be reliable, and I want it to be low maintenance, what would you tell them to get?
Oh, man, hands down, the Savage 650 or the 40L 650. I think it's a SL 650, whatever it is, whatever Suzuki made. But that single cylinder 650 is an awesome bike. I mean, it does the speed that you want, but it's a thumper, very easy to work on, single carburetor. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Great fuel mileage. It honestly is the price point and how long they last is great.
Right. Yeah, I had actually bought one for my wife, and I think that thing got like 70 miles a gallon. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
Did not like doing 75, but it would. Living in St. Louis, it was fine. So.
Right. Exactly.
Not a problem. All right. If you could go anywhere on a motorcycle today, you don't have to start from your home. You can start anywhere in the world and ride a motorcycle. Where would it be?
Oh man. Well, I've already done the trip from Anchorage to Florida, and I thought that was just an amazing ride. If I could do it again, though, and instead of coming down the west coast of America, I would go through like Montana and go through like the Salt Flats and everything else, and go to like South Dakota and the Black Hills and stuff like that. I would do that again, but I would spend more time in Canada and like the northern area.
Right on. Yeah, I still want to hit that area too. I definitely want to go through like the Grand Canyon area, the Black Hills, Sturgis, and very much the Pacific Northwest. There's a lady out there in the Pacific Northwest that's already said anybody go up to meet her, GMR Rides. Anybody goes up there, she'll cook for them and put them up. So that's my plan. Anybody got any questions, make sure you're putting them down in the comments here. So this might be a question, an answer I know, but have you inspired anyone to ride or wrench on their own bikes? You're trying to get Kyle to work on his, but
yeah, I don't really trust Kyle to work on his bike. As much as I love that guy, he's really bad about putting oil in it. But to be honest with you, The only person I really wish I could inspire, I'd have to say like my niece and nephews. I mean, if I if they come over and they want to work on cars or bikes or anything like that mechanically, I would love to teach them. But yeah, I hope Kyle never works on his bike.
Yeah, I think with Kyle, there's so many people around him that do the biking or do the wrenching for him. He doesn't really need to.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're more than willing
Right.
because, yeah. And I've got that disease too. If I see somebody working on something, I want to jump in and just take over and do it for them.
For sure.
So he's
And,
he's kind of lucked out. Everybody will he's in the perfect spot where everybody is around that knows what they're doing and can jump right in.
Right.
So you and
And
Alex
it's funny too. You have Kiefer. Kiefer brought his XS650 over, and we worked on it, and we got everything together. That dude is very mechanically inclined, but he just needed somebody to sit there and like have a beer with him. I'm like, you're right. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to watch you, and I'm going to drink beer and just use my tools, man.
It must be nice. I just offered on Facebook and Instagram, anybody that wants to bring in around this area, they want to bring their bikes over, I'll teach them how to do general maintenance, oil changes, tire changes, things like that. And people just came out of the woodworks. But they don't want to learn. They want to bring it over and have you do it for them. And I'm like, no, this is I'm going to teach you how to do it thing. Bring it over. I'm not charging you anything. I'm going to get it on YouTube. We're going to make a cool video about it. And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, I can just bring it to the shop if I want that done. And I'm like,
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's on you, man. Have a good one. Yeah, Mark Motomotician says, when Diplomat's your neighbor, you've kind of hit the jackpot. Yeah, pretty much.
Definitely, very true.
Okay, if you could tell a new rider one thing that you had to learn the hard way, what would it be?
Don't start out on the street. Do it in the dirt. Because once you learn how to be out of control, you'll learn how to be in control. I mean, it's everybody that rides dirt bikes, they know how to like it. Just for an example, it's like when you're going into a turn and you hit like an oil slick or something like that, or if you hit something wet or whatever, the bike will typically it'll scoot out. The ass end wants to move. Typically, people will freak out and they'll grab the brakes really hard. No, throttle through. Continue. You keep looking where you need to go and move forward. Dirt biking, that's like it's brained into you whenever you go through a berm. It's like you throttle through and dig the tire as far in as you can and keep going, so you get used to it. So before you deal with unpredictable people in the roads, deal with the predictable trees that could jump out in front of you.
Good point. Yeah, I totally agree. I grew up on a dirt bike first, and it was funny how when you went to a street bike, when you lost traction, and when you went to slide, when you went to fishtail, how easy it was to throw the dirt bike skills in there and go, oh, I just recovered from that. That's not bad at all.
Very normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's one thing people may not know about you?
I worked on roller coasters. Yeah, I used to work and maintain roller coasters at Busch Gardens. I had a lot of fun with it. I was a roller coaster technician, and like people will come down here and go to the Gibtown Bike Fest, and the carnies that work there. If I show my card that I'm an intimate or mock, certified person, they'll call me a stationary carny. So technically, I am a stationary carny versus a traveling carny.
Right on. I can actually see that.
Thanks, man. Is it the baldness or is it the beard? What gives it away?
No, it just makes total sense now to call like. Okay, now I'm thinking about Walt Disney World, the people that hang around there, even the one that dress up like princess. All they really are is carnies.
Oh, I thought it was just because I'm fucking bald that everybody works on
What do you mean?
coasters.
What do you mean? No. It just what's it called? An epiphany. I just had an epiphany. I will literally now never look at the Walt Disney people the same. They're all just carnies now.
I bet you they're fucking bald and bearded too. So.
Well, I know the dwarfs are.
Yeah.
All right. If you could go out and buy any bike right now, but you had to own it forever, what would it be?
Own it forever. Like, is that my main motorcycle or?
No, you would just have to own it forever. I mean, it could be a bike you want just for ADV, a bike you want just for long travel, a bike you want for bar hopping, but you had to own it forever. You could never sell it. It'd always be yours. What would it be?
Fuck. Yeah, that's a good question. Good. A forever bike? I would definitely have to say the new Road King special. That the Road King Kong, the one that Josh had raffled off. If I could own a bike like that, like something in that same stature, totally, absolutely would love it. I'd ride the shit out of it and wherever it needed to go. But
Yeah.
it's also a bar hopper, so
The best of all the worlds.
yeah.
So, flip side of that question, what bike would you ride just once, knowing you could never afford it or ride it again?
Oh man, I what's the Keanu Reeves makes that motorcycle,
The Arch.
and I can't think of the. Yes,
The Arch.
He's
He's got the KRGT1.
So that I think that bike would be the one that I would love to at least ride. But the only reason I'd like to ride it is because I love Keanu Reeves as a person, and also his love for motorcycles as well.
Yeah.
But I could totally never afford that.
There's something special, I think, about all the bikes. If you look through all, like, the guys that rode, so let's say even like Eric Buell, guys that rode,
Yeah.
and then Kenny Roberts after his GP days, people that have rode and then decide to make their own bike out of something that they love. That's going to be a special bike, and whether you like the bike or not, you've just got to admit that there's going to be something special about that bike because someone put all of their dreams into it that they like about a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got any
Absolutely.
comments? Anybody got any comments, questions, anything? Go ahead and throw them down in the chat. I'm trying to get him out of here. I know you have plans, so we're going to try to cut this
No,
not too
you're
much
fine.
long.
I've actually someone's going out to flip the meat for me, so
nice.
We're good. We're good for like another 45 minutes, man.
All right. So anybody got any questions, throw them down in the comments. So what is your toxic trait?
Definitely drinking. I can't get over it. I would love to stop it, but I mean, I'm drinking bourbon and beer, and I'm trying to cut it with water, but I don't think I can ever stop that toxic trait about me.
I think there's just something relaxing about it. I mean, anything good in moderation, as long as you don't overdo it. If you enjoy stuff, you should do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot better over the years, but I think it's just because like people that I've known that gotten to the 30s, 35s, and they're like, I hate hangovers. Why am I doing this to myself? You kind of realize that about it, and you just kind of move forward. So it's still kind of a grip that it has on me, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, but there's ways you can get around that and still enjoy it. I mean, okay, I don't like hangovers. Okay, I'll either drink less, or I'll drink water before I go to bed, or I'll take a Tylenol and a Gatorade before I go to bed. There's always ways around
Right.
stuff. But I mean, again, once you start not enjoying it, that's your thing. Droop wants to know what kind of bourbon you're drinking.
The bourbon I have now is the Jack Daniel's Bonded, and yeah, it is a bonded one. I was thinking because I just came back from Georgia, so I had some Willett's, the pot distilled one.
Right on. We go. So every year I've been trying to go whenever I can to the Jack Daniel's distillery, and I always get their single barrel rye whiskey. And it is always so good. And a couple times I've got it and didn't know it wasn't the limited, and I found a bottle of the limited and it was like $120, and I'm like, well, I'm not getting that one. But
Yeah, exactly.
I'll usually stick to maybe Gentleman Jack, or I'll do Johnny Walker Black. I do like the
Johnny
black label.
Walker's. Oh yeah,
Good
I have
stuff.
some Ardbeg too. I love scotches.
Oh, I'll try a Scotch, and I've learned to enjoy the peatiness of a Highland Scotch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, some of them are so peaty you just can't. It says like licking an ashtray, but some of them just hit
Right.
the notes just right, and you gotta like it. Billy Bleaker-Eyed says John Britton was a genius. Yes, that's another one that I would love to get on. The John Britton. Well, think of what was it? This called the something 2000, but it was a gorgeous bike too. So we've talked about you won't ride without a helmet, but what is the thing you will always do before you get on your bike and ride? You have like a pre-ride ritual to check something on the bike, or to...
Yeah, typically I'll always go around, make sure the tire pressure is good. That's one of my like main things that I always do every time, because I have multiple bikes. So whenever I go out and actually ride one of them, I'll make sure everything's inflated well, it's ready for the turns. Honestly, the other thing that I think of is just having the route and stuff memorized in my head just in case or something like that.
Right on. Do you ride with a GPS?
Typically, I don't. I know where I'm going, but there's a lot of times where I'll take my phone and just like put it on the tank and let it go as course.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do in the summer was just kind of take off and drive somewhere. And around Memphis, you can literally go in any direction and get lost in 10 minutes. There's so many back roads and side roads and country roads. And I'll just run around for 2 hours. And then once I hit a main highway, I'll turn the GPS on and find out I've been riding for 2 hours on back roads and I'm only like 15 minutes from home. Have no clue where I am.
Exactly.
But and that's the fun days. And you find places to get pie. You find places to stop for a drink. You find places to stop for ice cream. There's stuff out there you have never even seen if you hadn't turned down some back road and went somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So Bleak Rides is asking, where did you get the Bobber Fett unique name? I think I know.
The Bobber Fett name. Ironically, the original YouTube channel was called Soapstone, and I called it Soapstone because my welding teacher, he used to give me the soapstones that you can actually scribe on metal. He would make fun of me because he'd come out in the shop and he's like, "Devin, do you have your soapstone?" I'm like, "Soapstone," and he would get mad at me and he would throw like a wrench or something at me. So I was nicknamed Soapstone for that. But Bobber Fett ended up coming out of, I love like Star Wars, and I love bobbers. So I was like, oh, instead of Boba Fett, I'm going to do Bobber Fett, and it's going to be cool or something like that. And that's honestly how it started out. And then the emblem itself used to be like a face of a child's face with a big beard on it, and then it ended up being the tattoo that I have now, which is my, the monkey and stuff.
Right on. All right, so we've already talked about parking lot beers, but if someone called you and said, "Hey, let's go hang out somewhere," and you were going to ride there, where would you go?
Oh, River's Edge for sure. That would probably be my first point. Would say like, oh, we'll start there and we'll figure out the rest. And then it would possibly be like Tony's Liquors or, maybe The Shame or something like that. Usually they're always like 15-minute increments in between.
So you just came back from a really cool vacation. What was your favorite part of that vacation?
Definitely climbing up the side of this mountain in Georgia and going up to it's Basstown Bald's like overlook scenery. It's basically you can go up there and you can walk up this like little tower, and you could see everything at like 4,600 feet. That was my favorite.
Very cool. Very cool. And is that the thumbnail you sent me? Is that from this last trip?
The thumbnail?
Yeah.
No, that was from Alaska when we
Okay.
we were in British Columbia.
Yep, shows you how much I know about geography. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Well, then again, I mean, there's parts of Texas that look like you're in Canada, and there's parts of Florida that look like you're in, out in Texas somewhere.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'm justified.
Yeah.
So, who is your favorite person to get a pocket beer with?
Ooh.
I'm reading them off the. It has to be. I guess it has to be other than Shep because they asked about Shep. So, other than Shep, who would be a good pocket beer guy?
A pocket beer guy. What do you mean, like a parking lot beer?
Yeah,
like
somebody you roll up. You're gonna roll up somewhere, and they're gonna have a beer in their pocket ready to share.
Okay, and it can't be who?
I guess it can't be Shep. Shep is known for his pocket beers at the camp out, so it can't be Shep.
Okay. I mean, I would definitely go for Jake's. Jake's pocket beers are always pretty great. Even though they're not pocket beers, but they have good mushrooms, so.
Oh, God. All right. We got any other questions out in the audience here? Go ahead and throw them up. So, yeah, I was trying to trim the questions down where we could get you through because I knew you had somewhere to be, so now we're kind of running down. So, well, do you have any questions for me?
I do. What made you start this whole thing as far as YouTube goes? I know that Kyle had asked you before, but what made you start the whole journey of it?
So I had, obviously, I mean, a lot of it was Shade Tree and Herty Wheels and seeing people go out and just have fun on their bikes and they could video them and they were just having such a good time. So I'm like, well, yeah, I've had motorcycles for the last 20 years, why am I not recording when I travel places? Other than, So I'm like, fine, I'll start recording it, and my family can see what I'm up to, and we'll be having a good time. And the next thing you know, I'm going, hey, I can share this. Well, I just changed my oil. I can share how to do that. Well, I just, reset my ECU, or I just reset my service. I can record that and show people how to do that. And the next thing you know, I'm going down to the camp out, and I'm recording the camp out, and then I think what made me want to get bigger with it is when people I did not know started recognizing me, and then I was like, man, maybe I could actually do this and be, make something of it, and so it just kind of grew from there. So, and it's been a fun ride, and it's been very fun. The funnest part is meeting people, meeting you and meeting Shade Tree and meeting people that I thought were just I could never meet and could never be in their presence, I guess I'll say, and then all of a sudden they start treating you like family. So I think it just grew. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but it just became something very cool. So
absolutely.
So now I want to be part of it.
I mean, you coming down and hanging out in like Florida and hanging out with Josh and stuff like that, Shade Tree. I mean, do you get the same camaraderie that you do in the friends that you have up north, or is it something that you look forward to whenever you come down here? It's like this is my people that I'd love to see.
It very much is. It's like it's like a family. They always say it's like a family, but it's like when you throw a motorcycle into it, it changes the mix. And then when you throw in that there's people like Aaron and Juice that are coming from 1,000 miles away or more, then that even makes you share the camaraderie more because these people have just did the same thing you did. Then when you get there, it's almost like a mini celebration that we just rode 1,000 miles for us, for no reason except just to be with each other. And then it just changes the dynamic. So I think it just makes you a lot tighter. So yes, I think that answered your question. Maybe.
Absolutely. Same thing that you asked me before. If you had a bigger ride, like a big group of people or a small group of people, who would you choose?
Well, during the campouts, I did go on the one big ride, but my preferred ride was the breakfast rides. Because that'd only be like 6 or 8 of us together, and we're all going. I think it's easier to change a small group ride because you got a big group of people, you can't change the destination. You got to go because now it's too hard to tell everybody. With a group of like 4 or 5 people, you can stop and go, you know what, let's not go there. Let's go here instead. And so I think the maneuverability of it's a lot better. So yeah, like 5 or 6 people, perfect ride. Maybe up to 8, and that's a perfect ride.
Okay. No further questions.
Yeah, Aaron says, in this community, we're not friends, we're actually a family. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So if any of you guys, we're gonna close this out shortly, but if any of you guys would like to, like I said, I just went to a charity today. A girl with a traumatic brain injury had a very bad wreck. So I'm gonna put that in the comments down below right after we're done, where you can go and look at her story and donate to her, because her and her mom are having a very bad, they're getting through it, but she had the wreck back in, I want to say it was August, September, and she's still going through all these surgeries and stuff to get herself fixed. So they could use your help if they could. So look down below. I'll put it in the comments. So any closing remarks, any closing questions? Justin says the defense rests. So I guess we're gonna call it a day. All right, guys. So what's your Instagram and your YouTube?
Say that again.
What is your Instagram and your YouTube?
Instagram is Bobberfed, and YouTube's the same thing, Bobberfed as well.
All right. The first video of yours I watched was when you went out with tacos with Weems, or not Weems, Flip.
Tacos with
you went out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was probably a couple years ago.
While back. Yeah. So, man, I've been wanting to reach out to Flip here and see how he's been doing. I haven't heard from him in a while.
He just put up another video. And he's very sporadic now with the videos, but I did see he just threw another one up, and I have not been able to watch it yet, because the other bad thing about YouTube is when I first started, I had like 5 people I watched, and that was great.
Yeah.
And then I had 10, and then I had 20, and now I can't even tell you how many people I'm following, just because I always said if anybody follows me, I'll follow them back. And so
right.
I will usually go through any person and watch like 5 of their videos, and then go to the next person, watch 5 of their videos, go to the next person, because it's so hard now, because I want to watch them all. I'll give them all a like, and I'll just like kind of go through. Even if it's something I really want to watch, I'll watch it, and if not, I'll give them a like and move to the next one, because it's very hard to be supportive when there's so many people that you're trying to throw your support out to.
For sure. Absolutely. It is difficult. I mean, I think the first time, or that I remember, whenever you came over and talked about the bikes and stuff, and you did the interview about it, when you told me who you were, I'm like, oh, it's Rainy Rider. But because there's so many different people that come out to like the camp out,
yep,
it's like, hey, oh, you're who? Blah blah blah. I know who you are. I'm like, yeah. What's your name? Yeah. Oh, John, what? Yeah, what's your name? Oh, Rainy Rider. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. It's very difficult to like keep up with, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody ever coming up to me and being like, hey, I know you. Please just tell me what the fuck's your Instagram name. I'll go off of that way better than anything else. I still know people that I hang out with on a daily basis that still give their Instagram name to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know you. So just because it's such a big connection between everybody, it's hard to, remember everybody's name.
And it's weird sometimes, because like even in this last camp out, I bumped into a couple of people that I knew I'd met them before. I was like, I met you before. I know I have. And they're like, no, I've never been to the camp out. I'm like, no, I know I have. And then I realized I had seen them on somebody else's video like 4 or 5 times, and that's how I thought that I had knew them or seen them. And it gets weird after a while, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess that you're just like, oh, cool. Hey, you know who I am? Fuck yeah. Just tell me who you are again.
Hey, Justin, nobody's gonna to get you confused with anyone else. There's only 3 people at the camp out there as tall as you, and one of them's a girl. So yeah, we all know who you are. All right, we're going to go ahead and close this out. Thank you very much, guys. If you don't mind, like, comment, subscribe, and I am going to add that link for the charity, so look that up. So for now, we're going to close this out. Thank you very much for coming out, and I will see you guys later.